Hello and welcome to Writing for the Web by Anthony Frill. This video is a series of the Web Marketing degree for Bahrain Polytechnic. So it's running in conjunction with other subjects that we're covering, however you might find it interesting, just to discuss this one topic alone. So you'll see other videos in my channel and watch away if you're interested. So today we're talking about writing for the web, and we'll go through it in a good bit of detail. This video might last 30 minutes or so. We'll see how it goes. What I would say is, writing for the web or writing for the internet or writing copyright or content is quite a quite a niche job and quite an in-demand job at the minute. So for you, any of you that are thinking about it or enjoy this topic, and indeed for the students, you can have a look here at the our Moodle page. Sorry, screencast open up there. You know this isn't edited, and obviously these are the slides I'm working off today, so you can go back and look at them. This is a good book here that we have access to, Writing for Digital E-Marketing, the Essential Guide to Marketing in a Digital World. And it's a good book, and if we click on that, you can click on that, it takes you to the chapter here on writing for digital, and it goes through what we're discussing in today's video in a lot more detail. So if you find you enjoy it, and indeed for your assessment, you'll find that this chapter will help you. If you're looking for the A, you'll find the A stuff in there, and if you're happy with the B or C, just listen to this video and you'll be grand. The video for this will appear here. So as I said, writing for the web in itself is, honestly, it's a full course in itself, and we're going to try and cover the basics of it in 30 minutes, and you could be critical that I'm going over it too quickly or not spending much time on it, but it is, as we say, sort of the basics, and enough for us as digital marketers, in that going into the field that we understand what role writing for the web plays as a digital marketer. So, the good thing about web media students is we have skills in creating content, videos, and posters and infographics and different things like that. Well, writing is as important a part for content as any of those other skills, because obviously most websites are text-based, and most posts have text in them. So we're just going to look at what's the things that we should be looking out for when writing for the web. So it's just some things to consider. Oh, I haven't switched off my transitions on these slides, so you're going to have to go through the painful oh, so these are what we're covering today. I really should edit this. We're going to look at above the fold, active verbs, audiences, calls to action, colors, and we're actually going to look at a few other things as well. So that's just a small sample of the things that we're going to look at. I might put in the video a digital timeline, so you can see where if you just want to look at call to action, you can join in at a certain point. So sorry about this woefully bad transitions, or maybe woefully good. Key things to consider when we say above the fold. This is just, it's a term we use in digital marketing for what appears above the fold. And when we say above the fold, it's that area that appears when we first take up a website. So you can see here in the example, this is all above the fold, and everything underneath this is under the fold. So the key content should always appear without the user having to scroll downwards. And we can see here the scroll bar that there's a lot more to scroll down on. That is a very outdated website. But let's look at an example of this. Sorry, there's a sheet here beside me. It's a calendar, not my script. If we look above the fold, let's go for, this is what I'm looking up at the minute. I have a quiz tonight, and I've been looking up the All Ireland champions. Let's look at Amazon. Let's go here, Amazon.com. This might be a bad example. Okay, so this is all the above the fold here. So we can see this is maybe don't change. We can see they've got their shopping languages, currencies. This is what they want you to see first, and then underneath that is under the fold. So just this is all above the fold, and under it is above the fold. And let's look at another example just while we're here. Go back to Google, WGA Captain 2020. I know the answer to that anyway. Sorry you've had to see that. Hotels, Bahrain, because that's where we are. Let's see, let's go to booking.com, and we can see in booking.com, this is all above the fold. Not great, not a great above the fold really. And underneath you see this stuff. So let's look again. So you understand what above the fold is. And again, it's just a term that I want you to understand. Above the fold. And this is the fold line down here. Okay, I think we're all okay with that. It's nice and simple and common sense once you know it. Active verbs, well, verbs that tell a user how to act or behave in a certain way, and these are usually used in call to actions, or CTAs, which we discussed in the last class, which are call to actions. So call to action is that button that we look for the user to click on to do something, and I think the examples that we give in the last class were, you know, if I was booking a hotel, the call to action that I'm looking to get my customer to do on the website is book now. And again, going back to the basic principles of marketing, we're looking at getting new customers, and part of getting those new customers is getting them to click on that button, getting them to click on that call to action. And we use active verbs to do that a lot. So click here, download, subscribe now. Again, probably common sense to a lot of you, but I guess until you see it and you know it. So we use things like active verbs for our call to action buttons and some examples. And I don't need to go and show you a hotel to show you the call to example actions. You're well familiar with all the different call to actions. Just some key things that we consider when we're writing for the web. And when I say writing for the web, that can be writing a blog, writing a homepage, about us, post for Instagram, post for Facebook, any of these things. This is what we consider. So the audience, and a bit like the principles and basic principles of marketing, who's your target and audience and who's your segment, and no different again when we're writing for the web. We really think, you know, well, we think first of the audience of one, and you know, even me doing this video, I'm trying to feel like I'm chatting to one person here as opposed to chatting to many, and that might sound a little silly, but you know, I like to think that I'm chatting to you, you know, whether that's that Zainab or Ahmed or whoever the student is that's listening to this video, as opposed to if I thought about all the millions and millions of people that are going to watch this video, well, that would terrify me. Yes, millions. Think about who you are writing for. Obviously, again, back to our, you know, we always say traditional and digital marketing. Well, think about who you're writing for. Who is your target customer? Who is that customer of one? Can you draw a picture of that customer of one? And I can draw a picture of my students. I can draw a picture of the people that are mainly going to be using this video. They are basically basics or beginners in writing for the web. It is not for experts or indeed people with a good level of writing. It is for the beginner that is writing. So a student, really. Identify the type of individual or persona who will read or use your website. Again, that's just a little bit of that targeting and segmenting and understanding the psychographics and demographics of your customer and all those things we talked about in the principles of marketing. Age, psychological factors. Who are you looking for? Impulse buyers? Are you looking for people between the ages of 60 and 70 or 18 and 25? That's what we think of. Obviously, what do they want? What does he or she want? And we have to consider that when we're writing. What is it that they want? Are they here to book a room? Are they here to find out information? Are they here to learn? Are they here to, we have to figure out what they want. How do they make their purchasing decisions? And while that is not always simple, good market research should help you in how they reach their purchasing decisions. But again, if we really are advising or creating content for a mobile application that books rooms for a hotel, how do our customers make their purchasing decisions, and then how can we use that for our gain? What key information would they need? It's kind of common sense, obviously. Again, if we were to use a hotel as an example, well, you're going to want the size of the room, the price per room, the different rooms, the different availabilities, what they come with, packages. These are all things that our customers are going to want, and we have to have that information, or should have that information available for them. And of course, what will make their life easier. Do that, it's always good. So that's just the audience. A little exercise for you to do, and we can talk about this in the next Q&A session, which we have on Sunday or Monday, depending on which class you're in. So I would like you to think of a life coach. So that is someone that is setting up a life coaching business that is offering, or has already a well-established life coaching business, I don't mind whichever, and they're offering career advice for graduate students. They have a new book focusing on career advice for sale and would like to sell through manufactured landing pages and Google AdWords. I would like you to apply the key areas that you should consider from the last slide to offer advice to this client. So what advice would you provide to the client if you were writing the copy for their landing page, or for that landing page? So again, we have a life coach who's just written a new book on offering career advice for graduating students, which is a book that perhaps you would all like to read. That is a clue in terms of who is your audience. So just go back to the last slide and see, okay, well, can I answer each question on this example? And what we'll do is we'll go through the examples that you come up with in the next class. Okay, so I'm drinking coffee here. Key things to consider, other key things to consider. We already talked about calls to action, or showed you active verbs and calls to action. Look at that, what an animation. Calls to action can take a variety of shapes and forms. They're usually buttons, but can also be text links. CTAs need to be simple, quick and clear in the action you want the user to make. And these are just simple things, again, probably complete common sense to the vast majority of you. But sometimes it just needs to be stated, and you've probably come across more call to actions in your life now than I have, given how much you're online. Just here's a little example of Lumosity's website, and they have a primary call to action, or two primary call to actions. So you can see the get started now and start training, and of course a secondary call to action. We don't tend to have too many call to actions. So call to actions need to be clickable. They must look tactile or touchable. One way is to make it look like a real button, and you would have done this in your HCI course, Human Computer Interaction, and probably would have done it in web design with Miss Georgina, and probably with Nico as well. There's a bullet point on a bullet point. Stick to less choices, and I'd agree with that. You don't want too many call to actions on a page. Again, common sense, but you're going to have the user confused, or we want to focus them on what our primary call to action is. We want them to book the room. That is our primary call to action for the hotel. Always consider the wording. Ooh, danger, capital letters. Okay, so again, I think you would have done this with Miss Georgina. Colors are important, and you would have done this in strategic design for the web. You would have done this already, but again, and that's probably, I should have the source up here. Actually, I need to do that, so maybe I'll put that in the notes. Colors, women. Let's have a look. That's possibly controversial. Colors women love the most. Well, let's see if you agree with that. We can talk about that on Sunday in colors women hate most: orange, brown, grey. So again, just to consider, and these are colors do play an important role in website design, button design, and this again is actually just another example, and I would be surprised if you didn't come across this. Yellow, optimistic and youthful, often used to grab attention of window shoppers. Red is energy. Blue creates a sensation of trust and security, often seen with banks and businesses. Purple, used to soothe and calm. So there's just some, again, you can have a look at them on the slides yourself and agree or disagree. I think they'd be accurate enough. Pink is romantic and feminine, used to market products to women and young girls, and perhaps you could widen that now a little bit further. Orange can be aggressive. Anyway, again, I don't want to go over that too much because it's basic enough. You've done it with web design, but obviously colors is a key thing to consider in designing websites and designing content and creation for your page. I am terrible at it, I can tell you that now, and my wife would tell you that as well. I will probably put brown, orange. Oh dear, sorry, that's the email coming in. Brown, orange, and God knows what colors I'd put together. It was never my strong suit when I was building websites for clients and designing content for clients. I think one of the first people I ever employed was a good designer, because I was aware that it was a skill I was not good at, but some of you are naturally great at it. But it should be something that you should consider. So if you haven't thought of it before when you're designing websites, it is something you should consider when writing for the web. And again, whether it's, we think of our fonts and our colors, they are important. Perhaps not as important as the content itself, but and let's look at that. What makes great web copy? Okay, so these are just some points again that I've taken from the book, and some points that I have added in myself. I guess that have so far proven to be successful in writing good web copy. So I think all text must be easily scanned. Look, for the majority of websites, obviously, if your audience is an academic audience and you're going into real technical detailed stuff, then it might not be as easily scanned or scannable as most, but by and large all text should be easily scanned. And I think we know that ourselves we like to go, I think we all do it now, where we go on a web page and you read those first 3 lines in milliseconds and then decide whether you're staying on that site or not. And I think we all practice that, we all do that. It's almost that attention economy again. I look the first, I read, I scan 2-3 lines, no, and you're either in or you're out. Use meaningful headings and subheadings, and of course you all know that, of course, even from your search engine optimization, the important role that headings and subheadings play in search engine optimization. And we're actually going to discuss that a little bit in the next couple of slides. Just to give those of you that don't have an idea of how it works, a quick idea of how it works. And I always find it fascinating how it works. But highlight or bold key phrases, words, but don't overdo it. Search engine spiders, which we're going to look at those little things soon, and people don't want to see too much bolding or highlighting, and you know that from receiving a WhatsApp message that is all capital letters. It's, like use bullet points and lists, search engine optimization like that, and one key idea or topic per paragraph, and that is usually what you would do in academic writing as well, or even when you're doing your assessment or your report. Try and keep one key idea or topic to the paragraph. First line of the paragraph should give an indication of what the rest of the paragraph is all about. Second sip of coffee. Sorry. Might edit them out or probably won't. Okay, so web copy, search engine optimization. I'm going to, again, talked about it briefly in the last couple of slides in terms of headings and that help improve search engine optimization. But, we are digital marketers. We have to think of, essentially, we are marketing on the web, and we're using the internet, and everything connected and all the different applications and tools that we can use. So, you know, we do think we have to think with SEO in mind nearly always. And with that in mind, we have you must write for computers. You should write for computers, search engines, and for humans. So, and this is a fair point. I would agree with this completely. You know, you're not just writing for humans when we say this audience of one. You are thinking of, you're writing for search engine optimization as well. You're writing in mind that when you're writing this, Google is going to be sending out programs to scan your websites, your applications, to see if your website is what a user wants, basically. And we'll look at that in a second. Keywords are crucial to search engine spiders and users. They must blend into the copy. Don't make them annoying to the user. So just a quick reminder of a keyword actually when I'm on this. Let me go to, okay, back here. So just a keyword or a key phrase. Well, hotels in Bahrain is a keyword. That is the word I type in if I was looking for a hotel. If I was going to Ireland tomorrow, I might write going to Donegal, going home to Donegal, I might write hotels, Donegal, cheap, because I'm cheap. And anyway, that's the keyword. Keyword, key phrase is hotels, Donegal, cheap. And of course, Google wants to give me what I'm looking for, so Google returns all the things that they believe to be related to cheap. And all the content in here has been kept in mind with the cheap hotel, Donegal. So when they were writing this, obviously they knew what their customer value proposition was. Let's have a look at the content. I've never been on here, so I could land on anything here. And that's got me in trouble before. You can see their content is written around cheap. Continues, Anthony. Let's. Okay, so it's just really to show you the example of COVID-19 travel restrictions. Hotels, Donegal, cheap. And that is a keyword or a key phrase. And other variations of that are cheap hotels or whatever. You God, thank God I haven't typed in anything bad there. There would be editing going on. How to zoom in during the minute. I love it. Sorry. Okay, so back to this. And you've got the benefit of that key phrase today, how to zoom in using a PowerPoint on a Mac. Also, key phrases you need. So you must write for computers and for humans. Keywords are crucial to search engines and spiders. So when we type in a keyword like cheap hotels, Donegal, Google goes through all its algorithm and finds all the websites that have those keywords in its web page. So when we're creating a web page, we want to have the keywords that we believe our users are going to type into the search engine, and we want to try and put ourselves in the mind of the user and what keywords are they going to use. Don't make them annoying to the user. Also use key phrases. You need to consider what relevant words and phrases might be used to users to search online. So it might be, if we looked at that last example where I had cheap hotels in Donegal, well, maybe I would put in, you can see some of the phrases from memory that they had were kayaking in Donegal. So that might be another key phrase that we would have in our website. Hope I have not lost you, and if I have, please email me or leave a comment below, because I am always trying to improve, like today where I learned how to zoom in on a PowerPoint slide. Each web page should be optimized for primary key phrases and can be optimized for secondary and tertiary key phrases. Okay, so obviously you have your primary key phrases, each web page. So if I'm selling a pair of runners, for example, or if I'm building a website for a pharmacy, you know, on one of the key phrases on one of the pages, if my product I'm selling is, for example, eczema or something like that, well, the key phrase is going to maybe be alleviate pain or how to help with eczema, something like that there. Actually, it's a really bad example, but I think you get what I'm saying. How this, I'm just, sorry, I've thrown this in the middle of the slides, and this is a perfect example of non-flowing stuff. So your content should always flow, and hence I throw in this, but I think it is important just to go over it again. Some of you understand this and some of you don't, but it is good to understand how the search process works. So what happens when we type into Google a search word? And basically Google sends out, oh gosh, millions of little what they call search engine spiders, which are basically small programs. They go out and crawl through the internet on a daily basis. They crawl through websites, pulling out keywords, key phrases from each web page. They put these keywords into this algorithm here. The user puts in a key phrase into Google. Google goes through its algorithm where all this information here has been inputted. It runs its algorithm and it then recommends the most suitable web page for the user, which is absolutely fascinating when you think about it. How big must this algorithm be? But that's what we do when we're designing websites. We try and, you know, they talk about search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is obviously optimizing for a search engine, making your website the best so that when you type in, when a customer types in something, that your website appears. And that's what we're trying to do in search engine optimization. So what we tend to do, is we tend to do everything in our power as digital marketers to make sure our website appears in this algorithm when the user types in the keyword or key phrase. So when I type in hotels or cheap hotels, Donegal, well, this website here has cheap hotels, Donegal in it, and when the little spiders who picked up the keywords then put them into the algorithm, and the user types in and returns this web page to the user. There's so many different things that the Google algorithm runs. It doesn't just run keywords and key phrases. It runs things like load speed of website, how often the website has been accessed, and to be honest with you, there's hundreds and thousands of videos that explain, and websites on how to build good SEO, and essentially that's what we're doing in this class with web marketing, is we're trying to basically optimize. We know ourselves from searching, from anecdotal evidence, that if your website does not appear on page 1 of Google, users are not that likely to go to page 2. What can we do to get our page to number 1? And writing good copy is an important part of search engine optimization. So it's having the good keywords and doing all the things like subheadings and headings, and these are all the things that the search engine spiders like. They pick them up, stick them in, and back out. I hope that makes sense. I hope it's a good analogy. I remember when I first came across that, I was, years and years and years ago, I was fascinated that they send out all these little programs and they crawl through all the millions of web pages and then bring all that information back into sort of a central point, if you like, and then someone presses a button and milliseconds later computation runs and they give you the best 10 web pages that they recommend. It's fascinating, really. So I know I've lumped that in there, but maybe I should have done it at the start. I think it is important, and I think you'll agree that it's important as well. So search engine optimization. Spiders love heading hierarchy. So we've said that's headings and subheadings. A little bit outdated, but they love these headings. And make sure. Ooh, that was fascinating. So what a animation. Make sure to use headings and subheadings. They help users. They make your copy more structured, and search engine spiders love them. Use text to link from one page to the other. The link anchors text should include keywords, phrases of the page you are linking to. Yeah, I think you should still do this, but yeah, it is important to do, actually. Sorry. Okay, and we're near the end actually. It wasn't far off from my 30 minutes. Web copy, tone and style. The tone of the content should be consistent with the brand you are writing for. Another bad design here, bullet point and a bullet point. And what we mean by that, and we're saying, is must match the brand's personality. Well, you know, what is your brand? Is it flowery and elaborate, logical, rational, serious and personal? This depends on what your brand is, you know, and depends on the customer you're writing for. And obviously, you know, for example, like if you're selling for a kids toy shop, the brand and the tone and the style would be very different to a website that you would be creating for a pharmaceutical company or a chemist, and likewise. So you know, tone and style, and again you would have done this in design, advanced design for the web, but you know, you're trying to keep that brand style running through your web copy. And don't forget, finally, don't forget the right and inverted style. So you're obviously your most important stuff at the top, and even indeed I would contend or argue that it should be above the fold, even though the examples we've looked at today may not have been good examples. So your most important stuff kind of comes first, and then on a website it comes down and down. Okay, so I think that's it. That is it. Wow, that was amazing. What an amazing video. I'm sure it's put half of you to sleep, so you know to use it again for helping you to sleep, and that's maybe how this video will be successful. Please don't screenshot what I've been looking at. Compounding, and this is something I'm making this evening: potato gorgonzola rosemary puff pastry. Not my recipe. Anyway, the video will appear here, even though you're now watching the video, so there's no point saying that. I will send this out to you. I'll email that out to you today. Just some details. So we will discuss this obviously in our next class. This is a great chapter, a great chapter of the book. I really enjoyed reading it, and I think you will too. And just some other links that are, again, you want to get an A, have a look at these, do what they're telling you. You get a B or C from my video and watching these slides in the class. If you want to get the A, you read this stuff. And okay, that's enough. Just a reminder, assessment is up there. And I think that is enough for today. I think we can leave it there. Thank you very much. I hope it was not too boring, long, whatever. Feel free to email me, leave any comments, ask any questions. And thank you so much. Hope you have a lovely day.